Hello and welcome to our next video on auditing. In this video we are going to be covering the various entities that impact the auditors and the audit professionals. So when you start your career as an auditor, you're going to find that there are many different entities that impact that career. Now some of this will depend on what industry you decide to audit in and what types of clients and all of that. But what we're going to be going over in this particular video is just some of the basic, the general entities. It's important to be familiar with the role each of these entities plays, what information you need from them, what information you need to submit to them, just a variety of things to consider. So the first one I've listed here is the AICPA, which is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Now this is, as an auditor, as a audit professional, CPA, this is basically your professional organization that supports you. They support the auditors. You're going to work with them throughout your entire career. So they provide career guidance. They provide the necessary continuing professional education, so the CPE that's necessary if you are a CPA and you need to continue to learn, because there are requirements to maintain your CPA license. There are requirements for continuing education. They also have a newsletter, or actually a magazine, a monthly magazine called the Journal of Accountancy. And this is the industry magazine, essentially, for accountants, for CPAs specifically. So that covers a lot of the topics that are coming about. If you peruse through that each month, you'll be a little bit easier to stay up to date. So the AICPA, that's what we have here. I'm just going to quickly open that up so you can see a little bit about their website. So if you take a look at that website, again, you have a lot of different things here. A lot of menus to look through. So CPA exam, I mentioned they actually developed the CPA exam and they help to administer it. There is another entity involved with that we'll get into. So you can just peruse through this website and you'll see a lot of information. Here is the CPE, Continuing Professional Education. Certification, if you want to search for a listing of CPAs, this talks about the CPA certification, which is basically passing the exam, and the CPA licensure, which is after you've passed the exam. Once you meet the specific education or experience requirements, depending on what industry you're in, you can become licensed as a CPA. And one thing to mention here is you can actually be a member of the AICPA even before you pass the exam, even before you get your license. You can be a student member. There are a variety of levels of membership there. So a little more information you can see from that. The next is the NASBA, the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. So this, again, it's the national level, but each state you operate in, or each state, if you're out of a state, if you live in a state, you pass the CPA exam in a state and you get licensed in that state, you're going to want to see your own specific State Board of Accountancy. But the NASBA comes into play, especially for the CPA exam. You have to register for the CPA exam there. You can find out your particular state's requirements for CPA licensure. Each state has its own education requirement. Each state might have different other requirements that come into place for certification. But the big thing that's universal is the CPA exam itself. So going to this website, you'll find a lot of information about that. So if you go to that website, again, there's a lot of information here. They talk about the exams. Mostly the CPA exam is what we're concerned with, although they do have international versions of this. Licensure talks about maintaining a license. Again, there's a link to your own State Board of Accountancy. This gives you a list. Education, some of the requirements. The CPE sponsors, I don't know if you saw that. Let me shrink that down a little bit. National Registry of CPE Sponsors. So a lot of information here in this site. You can go down to, if you go to the Uniform CPA examination, you can find some information about the exam content, some frequently asked questions about it, the exam structure, So a lot of information. If you're planning to take the CPA exam, you definitely want to visit this site and peruse a little bit. The next one I wanted to cover was the Auditing Standards Board, which is actually an arm of the AICPA. Now, for a very long time now, they have been involved in setting the auditing standards. Now, keep in mind, auditing standards are separate from accounting standards. Of course, we're the same basic field, accounting and auditing, but the accounting standards are created by the FASB. The auditing standards that dictate how that financial information is reviewed by the auditor, those are created by either the Auditing Standards Board, if it's a non-public company, or the next one we'll talk about is the PCAOB, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, and that's for public companies, obviously. Accounting oversight, that kind of defines what audit does. Audit oversees the accounting side of things. They're reviewing the accounting work. This came into play, the PCAOB came into play with Sarbanes-Oxley right around the 2001-2002 time frame. And again, the board, it was a brand new board, but it's not like they completely scrapped all the previous auditing standards. They adopted the vast majority of the auditing standards created by the AICPA, but there were a lot of things changed over time, just kind of slowly, gradually. So it's not to say that most of the auditing standards were not sufficient, but it's just certain things needed to be changed for the more intensive review necessary for a public company, just because of the concern of the investors relying on information for these public companies. But again, I wanted to mention what we can find at the Auditing Standards Board. Now again, this is an arm of the AICPA, so it's underneath their main website. But if you go to the research area, you'll go to Standards and Statements, Audit and Attest Standards, and then you'll get the Auditing Standards Board. So it gives you a little bit of information about the board itself. You can read through that. And then if you back up a link, you'll see the actual standards. So they have the clarified statements on auditing standards, and they have the pre-clarity statements. So that was before everything was kind of categorized, redesigned, if you will. These are after the PCAOB. I'm sorry, these are actually just the clarification. With the GAAP under the accounting side, they went through a codification process that really redesigned the accounting standards. This is basically the auditing side of that. So if we click on Clarified Statements and Auditing Standards, you'll see a big list here. You'll see the original standard and what it was redesignated as, the new title. Some of them are brand new. They didn't really exist before. You'll see how they compare. You might also have some interpretations. You can click through and see that. So that's what you'll find there. And actually the next one I have up before the PCAOB is the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. This is the www.sec.gov. It's a government agency. Now, the interesting thing is, as a government agency, this government agency was created back in the 30s, right after the major stock market crash of 1929. Now, it wasn't exactly immediately after that, but that's really what led up to it. That led to the realization that there needed to be more oversight in the market, because otherwise something like that could very easily happen again. So the government agency that's been around for that long actually holds the authority to regulate commerce in general, regulate the market and everything that relates to it. So technically speaking, they do have the authority to set the accounting standards and the auditing standards. However, for really since the beginning, they've actually delegated this to other entities. They didn't want the government agency immediately controlling that operation. They wanted the market to be a free market. So to kind of depoliticize it a little bit, it's been delegated to other entities. So the accounting standards have been delegated to a private organization, the FASB, and the auditing standards have been delegated, first of all, to the AICPA, the professional organization for CPAs, a private organization. And then, of course, now we have the PCAOB, which is actually a separate organization as well. It's not government related. It's supposed to be independent. So I just wanted to bring up the SEC. Now, they do still have regulations that are very important to auditors and certainly the companies related to how the public company is supposed to report. So how they prepare an annual report for their financial statements. But the other thing, the other reason this is very important, and I want to bring this up here, is that the SEC.gov website is a very easy way to find a company's financial statements, prior years. So if we go to company filings, for example, you're going to get Edgar. That's the name of the tool. Now, it used to be kind of in a separate location. Now it's really easy to find. You just go to company filings, and you simply just search for a company. If I knew the ticker symbol, I could click that and search for it, or I could just search for names. So let me just say I'm going to click Walmart. I'm just going to search them up randomly. So we have Walmart retail variety stores. I'm going to click on that one. Sometimes, some companies, it can be a little complicated to see which one you really need. Like if you go out and search for Ford, there's a long list of Ford-related items. Some of them are not even related to the Ford Motor Company. You have to figure out which one you want. So I'm going to click this first one and try that out. Now, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about what each of these forms means. I'm going to create separate videos for that. But generally speaking, the 10Q is your quarterly report, and the 10K, if we can find one here, would be their annual report. You can see there's a lot of other stuff there, but the 10Q and the 10K is really the important one. Now, the way this tool is developed, they've really enhanced it over the years. This interactive data, it allows you to drill down to more detailed information. But if I just click on the documents, you can see you have a lot of different things there. The Form 10K itself is really what you'd be mainly concerned with. They do have some other schedules that are important. But if I was to click on this 10K, you can see it's a very long worksheet. You can see I could scroll all the way down and notice how quickly those pages are going by. That's intentional. I was just showing you how long it is. Here's a nice little index. The financial statements are really what you're mainly concerned with. That's item 8 out of a relatively long list. So again, this is not intended to go fully through those statements. I just wanted to give you a quick example of what the SEC.gov website shows. So now the next one is the PCAOB, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. Now notice this is not a .gov website because it's a private organization. It's not government related. It's independent. That's the way it was set up initially. We'll go to their website in a bit. But again, they are the standard setter for audits of public companies. There is a lot of similarity between the public and non-public standards, but you have to follow these standards if you're auditing a public company. Now, this board didn't exist up until 2001 when it was created by the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX. Now, that's a short name for that act, but that's how we're going to refer to it for these courses. So let's see what's on that website. Just like with the AICPA and their Auditing Standards Board, there's a lot of information on here. But if we go to Standards, you're going to see Auditing Standards. Now, again, there's a lot of other information here, but this is the biggest thing that we're talking about here. So if we go to Auditing Standards, you can see these standards listed out. Very similar to what we have in the Auditing Standards Board version, but feel free to peruse that a little bit. And now we're on to the International Auditing Standards Board. So now we're moving on to the IASB which is the International Auditing and Assurance Standards Board. Now, assurance and attestation, all of those things are different levels of auditing. For our purposes, we're really just focused on the auditing for this section, but there is more that these boards create regulation for, create standards for. So again, this is international companies, obviously. And let's take a look and see what we can find on this website. So here, the first thing you'll notice is the standards and pronouncements menu on the left-hand side. If we click that, you're going to see some information. They give you a handbook of all these various pronouncements. They give you some other information, some disclosures and such. Some of these, like this one, you have to purchase. So it's not always as easy to find as some of the PCAOB information, but here's where you would find it. So there's information for that. The next one I have here is your client, which seems a little odd, but basically you're auditing this client, you're auditing this company. You have to fully understand the client, where they fit in the industry, who their management is, any past history you have with that company, any concerns you've had in the past. Again, what's special about this company compared to other similar companies you may have audited in the past. Now, I want to mention here, this is gaining this understanding of the client and their internal controls and everything they do is part of the acceptance and planning stages of an audit. If you can't get a full understanding of that client, it's a significant scope limitation, and you should not accept the audit engagement. So that's why this is important here. And the last one we have here is kind of an unfortunate one. It's your personal attorney or the attorney at your CPA firm, whatever it might be. But the problem is there may be situations when you are in an audit, and depending on what you discover, what you uncover, or what has happened during that audit, there may be situations that lead you to seek personal counsel. Now, there might be situations where you discover fraud and you need to report that. You want to be able to protect your own interests as well, because as you can imagine, when these things come up with a company, they're probably going to be defensive. They're going to try to fight back. You just want to make sure you have your own defense. Conflicts of interest might come up where you need a little bit of guidance on how to handle it. Confidentiality issues are a big one here, and it kind of leads back to the fraud, because there are situations where you will uncover things in an audit, and there's the requirement that you communicate these issues within the company to the audit committee and the board of directors. But the concern is, what if it's something very massive that you believe the investor community should be aware of, but the board is not communicating it to them? There might be situations there. Confidentiality requires that you keep the things you're learning in an audit confidential, as you can imagine. It's kind of like it's not nearly the same extent as like doctor-patient confidentiality or even attorney-client privileges, but there are some similar types of privileges there. So you may just need to seek guidance from your personal attorney to find out what's the best course of action for you at this point in time, legal-wise. And there might also be litigation against the auditor by the company for what they found, and possibly uses of the financial statements if they didn't find enough or if they didn't disclose enough. So that takes you through the list of common entities that auditors should be aware of. Certainly not an all-inclusive list, but it's something just to be aware of. Hope this has helped to clarify some of these topics, and I thank you for your time.